thought it'd be fun to visit a team that I played in VGC back during Pokemon X and Y that I used to run when I used to go out to some local tournaments and such. This team was a Trick Room team and it was really spicy because I was running a mixed Sweeper Swalot on it. And if you remember, during this generation, fairy types became a thing, so poison types all of a sudden became an actually relatively decent defensive typing to pick. And since we can only play Kalos region Pokemon in this format, yeah, this is what I was working with. I have a few battles here, kind of showing off some of the tech. We'll talk more about the Swalot as we see it. Alright, so let's just jump into our first battle here. So it's been a while since I've seen these. These are really old, but okay, so I'm facing someone named Thatsa. I'm not sure if this is Thatsa +1, but if it is, shout out to them, yo, because really cool YouTuber here on YouTube. If you see this by chance, can you confirm to me if this is you or not? But in this battle, I have Meowstic and Scrafty lead against Rotom, Heat, and Scizor. So we do get Intimidate off with Scrafty, and I'm gonna go for the fake out on the Rotom. That's gonna switch out the Scizor. I'm gonna set up a safeguard here. And I think I go for the Drain Punch as the Rotom goes for Discharge on both of my Pokemon. So I'm setting up Safeguard here because now I can actually throw Swaggers off on my own Pokemon. So that was kind of the idea strategy-wise, and as you can see I have Charm on my Meowstic as well, which I will target the Garchomp here. And that does make Garchomp a little bit less of a threat for us. We're not entirely sure what they're going to Mega Evolve yet, because it could be either of these, but they also did have, you will kind of see that they have a Manectric on this team as well. So all potential Pokemon that could Mega Evolve. In comes the Rotom trying to get rid of that attack drop, and the Scizor is actually just going to try to target Meowstic and remove me because it starts to realize that I'm going to keep Charming because I do have Prankster on Meowstic, and I'm going to keep reducing all of its attack and boosting my own Scrafty's attack, because the thing about the Safeguard, what it means is I can use Swagger on my own Pokemon, which will boost my Pokemon's attack by 2 stages while negating the confusion part of Swagger because of the Safeguard. So that's kind of the idea of this little tech here, is to allow Meowstic to kind of negate the opponent, maybe even throw Swagger and confuse a special attacker. But yeah, for the most part it's meant to boost the attack of the partner Pokemon. So in comes my Gardevoir, which is the Mega. I do have Trace on here. It's a little RNG on if we really get a good ability or not. So in this scenario it wasn't really that useful because there is no sand. But it is going to be a Mega Manectric here, and it is going to get off the Intimidate because that's the ability once it Mega Evolves. I'm also going to Mega Evolve my Gardevoir here. I end up using Trick Room, if I'm not mistaken, to try to set it up and reverse the speed tiers, because I do have, as you saw at the beginning, my Swalot in the back, and I'm actually running, if I remember correctly, a Quiet Nature on Swalot. It's a mixed attacker. I'm running Stockpile, Earthquake, Poison, I think Gunk Shot maybe, and Ice Beam. So as you saw here, Ice Beam, the way I invested EVs into my Swalot, I made sure that Ice Beam would absolutely knock out Garchomp, so they just end up quitting the match after that. So GG there, and in this next battle, we're going to pretty much run the same team comp, the same 4 Pokemon. So the other 2 Pokemon I had on this team are Trevenant, and I think the last one was Smeargle, but I don't seem to play Smeargle. I think Smeargle was still legal with Dark Void at this point in the game. So in this match, I'm actually leading Swalot and Meowstic, and we get a Mega Lucario and Delphox lead. So I do end up using Swagger right on the Delphox. Like I was saying earlier, is I can actually go for Swagger on special attackers to just get a confusion off, because obviously they're not going to be able to benefit from the attack boost. And here I'm going to start setting up stockpiles on my Swalot to get a boost. for my defenses. And even the Bone Rush is not really going to do a lot of damage here. Isn't that crazy? So we are Black Sludge on Swalot, if I remember correctly. And we're just going to keep beefing up our stats and healing up with leftovers on Meowstic and Black Sludge on Swalot. So we set up the safeguard, and I'm going to actually start throwing swaggers on my own Swalot, I think. And I think I'm going to try to put on a little bit of offensive pressure here with my Swalot. So as you can see, we're actually healing up a decent bit. And as you can tell, I'm raising my Swalot's attack. This is a little bit of a slow setup, but our opponent's just allowing it to happen. They can't really deal enough damage. So I throw a gunk shot here on the Delphox, just completely remove it at this point. It's time to just start one by one taking them down. So in comes Staraptor, and Staraptor should have Intimidate here. Lowers my attack a little bit, but doesn't matter because we're going for another swagger here, and we should be at +3 right now with the Intimidate counting in. So Bone Rush does too, but not enough. The Staraptor decides to go for Brave Bird on Meowstic, and crazy enough, my Meowstic here lives with 1 HP, which is insane. I go for the gunk shot and just completely one-shots Staraptor. And yeah, Meowstic is healing up a bit because of the leftover, and Swalot again. So the thing about this Lucario, it seems that its only real move that hits Swalot is the Bone Rush, and it's a little bit of RNG how many times it hits me. So Scolipede here goes for Steamroller. Excuse me. Does knock out Meowstic, and Lucario goes for another Bone Rush. They do end up getting 3, but I am at max stockpile. I go for the Earthquake, and it is going to just wipe out Lucario here. It does a decent chunk on Scolipede because it is neutral, if I remember correct, because of its typing. And in comes my Scrafty again, which I can intimidate the Scolipede back, take out Scolipede, and then I think I just go for a Gunk Shot, maybe? Or no, I guess Ice Beam I knew would be enough damage. It didn't really matter. So there you go. GG. And we have one more battle here that I'm going to showcase from the Pokemon X and Y era, Generation 6. If you've enjoyed this video, definitely consider liking, commenting, subscribing. I'm going to actually have some more... I might post more retro battles here if you're interested. So in this next match, we're going to be leading Scrafty and Meowstic again, and we have an opponent leading Ferrothorn and Talonflame. So I go for Fake Out on Talonflame so I can flinch that Talonflame because it's definitely kind of a threat here. And we get a Leech Seed off on Scrafty, and I go for Charm on the Talonflame just so we can weaken its attack. The opponent decides to just switch out Talonflame here, and they're going to bring in Kangaskhan, which I assume is going to be a Mega. It's one of the main reasons people run King in this generation. And we're probably going to see the Parental Bond double flinch potentially on something, but this Ferrothorn looks as if it's just trying to spread Leech Seed all over the place. So I'm going to actually switch out my Scrafty here, kind of fearing maybe like a Drain Punch or something from Kangaskhan, and I thought a Trevenant is a pretty good pick against having something like Kang, as long as we can avoid getting hit by something like Sucker Punch. So we go for the Charm with our Meowstic on Kang. Again, really nice to kind of like weaken the Kang. And we get hit with the Gyro Ball by the Ferrothorn. Fortunately, getting that Charm off was really nice, but the Leech Seed damage is actually still racking up because it negates our leftovers healing. In comes Sylveon, and we're going to switch out Meowstic so we don't just die. And I bring in Scrafty. Maybe not the best scenario for us, because having the Sylveon against Scrafty is not really looking good, because Pixelate is a great ability which can pretty much just Hyper Voice, do a lot of damage here. So I'm going to go for the fake out here on Sylveon to flinch it for this turn. I'm going to try to go for a burn on Ferrothorn just to kind of like weaken its attack and just kind of like negate it. It's a little annoying, but maybe it's not the worst case scenario if we just keep switching out. So I'm going to get rid of my Scrafty knowing that we're going to hit by a fairy move for sure this next turn. I'm going to bring in my Swalot, which should be able to eat up the move. It ends up being a Hyper Beam, which Swalot fortunately can tank that, even though that hits pretty hard. We get hit with a Power Whip, but because the Ferrothorn is burned, we just eat up that move. And now this turn, the Sylveon's going to be sitting here, immobilized to recharge. We have a little bit of a moment to kind of regain our footing. So I'm going to switch out my Trevenant, and I think I bring in Meowstic here. And I'm going to Gunk Shot the Sylveon just to remove it, which is really nice. And I think they're just going to Leech Seed my Swalot, so that's why I brought in Meowstic, knowing that I could probably heal up a little bit of HP. And we're going to see what we can do here still. This is definitely a long one. So because of Liquid Ooze, it actually ends up hurting the Ferrothorn here whenever it's trying to take my health. So that's pretty good that they threw the Leech Seed on my Swalot. I guess you wouldn't really expect that ability. Swalot was absolutely a spice pick. I don't think people really ran Swalot. I remember I ran it in a tournament. Everyone knew about my Swalot by the end of the tournament back in the day. But yeah, as you can see, we're still kind of tanking some moves here with Swalot. Really was like a fun Pokemon to run at this point of time in Pokemon. But yeah, see, we're just kind of hurting that Ferrothorn now with its own ability. And the burn on top of the Liquid Ooze damage is definitely racking up. So that Ferrothorn just been sitting here the whole match, pretty much. We're gonna Gunk Shot the Kang, and we do actually get a poison, which is pretty nice. And it's funny because the Ferrothorn ends up throwing a Leech Seed on its own Kangaskhan because it's so desperate to get health. But then it ends up killing its own Kangaskhan here. So, very interesting choice right there. But yeah, this is still just a very long battle. In comes the Talonflame, which is still kind of a threat, honestly. But we can bring in Scrafty, lower its attack, and we also have the Fake Out, which we can like immobilize this Talonflame again. Just kind of chip away a little bit of damage, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to actually throw Leech Seed on the Talonflame ourselves with our Trevenant. And fortunately for us, it does connect, and we get a little bit of health back. The Brave Bird comes in on our Trevenant. It's a crit. That was probably going to knock out regardless. I think we just let Trevenant go. And the recoil is pretty big, but we're going to be targeting it with Crunch. We just want to remove the Talonflame at this point. I'm not really too scared of the Ferrothorn, honestly. So we do get seeded from the Ferrothorn, and it's pretty much, I think it's just me versus, I think it's a Ferrothorn versus Scrafty now. They use Protect, but I know the next turn I can just go for a Drain Punch, and I'm going to be able to do more damage and heal back more than this Ferrothorn can do back to me. So I'm pretty sure this just knocks out, and that will be GG. Alright, well, definitely had a lot of fun sharing these battles. Let me know what you thought about them. Thanks again for tuning into this video. The Sass Squad is getting stronger each and every day. Good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're tuning in. I'll catch you in the next one.